Not only can your thoughts taint experience, they can blot out nearly everything else, says Ethan Kross, psychologist, neuroscientist, and author of Chatter, The Voice in Your Head. He goes on to talk about the study where, quote, the scientists found that inner experiences consistently overpower outer ones. What participants were thinking about turned out to be a better predictor of their happiness than what they were actually doing. This speaks to a sour experience many people have had. You're in a situation in which you should be happy, spending time with friends, say, or celebrating an accomplishment, but a ruminative thought swallows your mind. Your mood is defined not by what you did, but what you thought about. When it comes to hypnosis, Milton Erickson, known for his historic work in hypnotherapy, described hypnosis technique as the individual responding to the individual. One way to look at it would be when you actively respond to your inner experience during hypnosis. But aren't you responding to your inner experience all the time? If that's the case, what suggestions do you want to give yourself? This and more on the Pop Hypnosis Podcast. Hi listeners, it's the Mystic Mind. In today's episode, we're going to drop deep into your inner world. Yes, you heard right. Today's special guest is you. So, critical thoughts should just take a back seat for this one because sometimes they can be just a little bit much, am I right? That's why, for now, we're not going to give them any attention. That's right. Instead, this episode is going to focus on the fun stuff, the wins, the successes, that inner knowing, and the quietest, deepest part of your mind. We're going to pack it all in this episode, so get comfy, get settled, get ready to focus, play along, relax, and let's get to it. Now, the reason why I wanted you as a guest today is because you know yourself better than anyone, right? And inside your subconscious, there's a wealth of knowledge about exactly what is right and perfect for you in your life. So we're going to get into some of those insights throughout this episode. And since you are our guest today, why don't you take a moment to introduce yourself, but instead of the typical, this is me, this is what I do, I'd like for you to imagine a version of yourself that has made a shift, a helpful shift. Maybe this version of yourself is aware of a new perspective, found peace about something that has been bothering you, or has accomplished something positive. It is a version of yourself that feels good to you, that you're excited to learn more about. Actually, if you can close your eyes for me for a moment, and I'm talking to anyone listening now, close your eyes and really focus on that version of yourself. You might imagine this version of yourself in front of you now. And as you imagine standing in front of yourself, on the count of 1, you can just step forward and allow yourself to merge with that other version of you. 3, 2, 1. Step forward and allow yourself to become one with this version of you in your mind. Merging, integrating, and maybe it feels comfortable to keep that experience of aligning with yourself in your imagination. Or you can go deeper and really put yourself in the role of being exactly where you want to be. How would you introduce yourself if you were on a podcast now? What would you say to introduce this aligned version of yourself? And knowing that whatever you came up with to say is perfect. And if it feels unfinished, it's all good. We're all friends here, and you can trust you're going to get exactly what you need after listening to this. Here's a little bit of context for you, the listener, and you, our guest. Keep in mind that as you go deeper into your inner world, you'll find it easier to focus on that experience. And as a guest, it'll be easier to express to your audience, which is you, how you can broaden your idea of what's possible. And as you might have seen in the show notes, because we're packing a lot in this episode, it might get a little confusing in spots, but stick with it and focus on following along as closely as you can. Now, speaking of broadening your idea of what's possible, I'd like to segue into a bit of a story. Since you're listening, allow yourself to imagine this story as a memory, or a story you might tell on a podcast to someone listening like yourself. So there was this time when you were just going about your day, right? It was a typical day. You got up, you eased through whatever you typically do in the mornings, and you went out to go somewhere. Where you're going isn't something we need to get into just yet. And how you get there isn't important either. Whatever comes to your mind is the right destination and the right method to get there. And you're not in any rush. You're enjoying your surroundings. You can fill in the details of the story. You know it best. And you remember something that feels comforting, interesting, or satisfying to you on your way there. And you can easily add it to your experience. Yep, this is the part. This is the part where you can picture it more vividly. As you're on the way to the place you want to be, and you're continuing on your path. And this is the part where it gets good for you. Because in this story, you're that version of yourself you merged with earlier. You're exactly where you like to be. Now, what do you notice? What's around you? That's right. You start to notice things that make you smile. Even now, you might feel the corners of your lips start to tug into a smile. So after that, you really start to go deeper into that feeling of sinking into that inner world. And maybe you remember what we talked about earlier, about how going deeper into your inner world would automatically make it easier to follow along. So take a deep breath in now, feeling each inch of your body with that satisfying breath. And then let it out, perhaps with an equally satisfying sigh. Life is good. It feels good to be aligned with yourself, right? You start to go even deeper and begin to explore this idea of appreciation. You can appreciate the colors that you see. Perhaps you feel a relaxing, comfortable sensation right now in your body, and you can just allow it to grow. Your inner self is alert and immersed in this easy way, heading to your destination, while your conscious self, you, the listener, is slowing down, quieting down, allowing yourself to sink back into whatever you're resting on, and allowing your full weight to be supported, letting your jaw relax, your shoulders, your stomach, just relaxing, releasing every bit of tension. And if it feels good, you can allow yourself to completely slump, let your body sink into the surface you're resting on, feeling how your body is in contact with that surface, and just allow yourself to release that tension even more. Sinking, drifting, allowing these words to wash over you as if you're listening to your favorite podcast or playlist on the way to your destination, taking in what resonates. And allow yourself, just for now, to follow any sensations, thoughts, or emotions that feel good to you, fully and completely. You're still headed to your destination as you appreciate the fact that you're feeling good right now. And on the way to that destination, you pause. You were interrupted by something. Maybe it's a text, phone call, or someone has just approached you. It could be someone you know or someone you don't. Maybe it's someone you trust. But this person heard about or noticed the positive changes you made. And this person mentions it in a positive way, in a way that completely aligns with what you're feeling. You can tell the rest of the story. Let it play out in your mind. Maybe it's something that affirms a positive thought about yourself. Maybe it's a question asking you what you plan to do next. Maybe you've been notified of something good as a result of you just being you. Taking in what was told to you, you can continue on your way. And if someone approached you, allow that conversation to end so that you can return back to your route, comfortably letting yourself go even further on your path. Let that bit of information or compliment or good news bring about a positive emotion. Allow yourself to feel that emotion now. That's right. It feels amazing to remind yourself of what you're capable of. So once you find yourself feeling that emotion, can you allow it to amplify? It's as if all of the positive things that have happened or will happen to you have converged into this moment. And it just kind of fills you up. So let's just take a deep breath in and out. And as you fall deeper into that feeling, let your body move if it wants. Maybe you might want to smile or laugh. You could do a little dance. Just allow it to happen. You can even make a move by not moving and relaxing even deeper. That's right. You could bring any feeling you want into your experience. So just rest and relax, feeling good right here and right now. To anyone listening now, you might be really immersed in this story. I admit that's a sign of a good guest. Only you would know how to make such an experience real. And I would venture to say that if you can make this experience feel so immersive, you can direct your mind exactly where you want it to go. And I'm just going to repeat that for the listener. You can direct your mind exactly where you want it to go. For example, since this is the Pop Hypnosis podcast, let's say you want to know what it's like to go in and out of trance. You can wake up and open your eyes, take a look at your surroundings, and become aware of whatever room you're in. And regular listeners might understand that the word sleep on this podcast doesn't mean the sleep you go into every night. Although the sensation of going into trance might resemble falling asleep as you become more and more relaxed now with each moment. But I digress. The word sleep just means closing your eyes and instantly and automatically releasing all tension in your body. But not just your body. You can actually release any experience of holding on to thoughts or chasing thoughts in your mind. You can just let them be. You can just allow yourself to be. And soon, those thoughts will naturally start to shift and drift. And before you know it, there's not much else to do but listen. And it can feel good to just listen, relax, and go with the flow. One time, I was talking to a guest, and they told me that sometimes it's easier to listen, relax, and go with the flow when you close your eyes. And that made a lot of sense to me. They said that the thing that clicked for them was actually the word sleep. And the word sleep just automatically sent them into the most comfortable, blissful state without any effort. And the more they allowed themselves to respond to it, the easier it became and the deeper into hypnosis they went. But just to clarify, because there's no right or wrong way to respond, I often get asked, is there a right way to do this? Is this what I'm supposed to take away from this? And I keep telling people, your reaction is the right reaction. So if you notice your eyelids getting tired, or if you already closed your eyes, that's fine. Or if you close your eyes later and just let it happen whenever it happens, that's fine too. Maybe it just feels better to allow them to close and drift back into that immersive experience of just being, feeling good and just being. For any listener out there, I just invite you to really let go. Just let go and notice how every time you hear the word sleep in this or any pop hypnosis recording, when you feel safe to do so, you can easily drop deeply into your inner world. You can relax even more every time you hear the word sleep. Sleep is the word of the day, right? I have to ask our producer if sleep is the word of the day. Who decides that anyway? The producer is telling me we talked about this before, so I'm sure the listener knows for sure what the word of the day is. It might have just popped into your mind without you even needing to think about it. Sleep is the word of the day. So, since you're today's guest, the word sleep just works. It really just works. So I like to go into a segment we like to call mindful dreaming, and it is where the guest takes the listener into their own mind and you'll imagine that most fulfilled, satisfied version of yourself again. And as you go deeper into this exercise, notice how they look and carry themselves. Maybe you might see yourself looking in a mirror. And what thoughts are they thinking most often? What do they choose to consume to be kind to their mind and their body? What are they doing tomorrow? Take in any insights this version of yourself has for you, and take a deep breath in and out as you wake up for a second. Wake up. You know, it's a good thing that this podcast actually is supposed to put you to sleep. But for now, just wake up just enough to become aware of the room you're in. Notice the contrast. Notice the difference in how you felt just moments before and how you feel now. Interesting sensation, right? And so the next time you hear the word of the day, you can just allow yourself to let go even faster than you did before. What is the word of the day? Sleep. Just like that. Closing your eyes and easily drifting back down into your inner world. Deep into trance. Allow whatever thoughts that come up to just be. No need to chase them. No need to entertain them. Just let them drift by. And maybe you can imagine watching them drift by as if you're watching them float with the current of a river or a stream. You can just watch your thoughts float by. And at the count of 1, you'll see them disappear into the horizon. Always retrievable when you're done listening to this episode, but for now, you can just focus on these words. 3, you can see your thoughts drifting further and further away. 2, allowing them to float off into the distance. You can hardly see them now. 1, empty. They're completely gone now, and you can just sleep deeper, letting go with each breath in and out. Each moment that passes, you can let go and listen. In a moment, I'm going to take us into a segment I like to call a word from our partner. That partner is the highest, most fulfilled, and satisfied version of yourself you could possibly imagine. This podcast wouldn't be the same without the insights from this partner. So, sleep even deeper now. And imagine the most fulfilled, loving version of yourself. And if it is relevant for you, maybe you have a connection to something bigger, your source, your inner knowing, your personal guide, the universe, your essence, soul, or an energy you associate with wisdom. They also have a message. This message is an affirmation or a piece of wisdom that you already know deep within, something you know will help you on your path. Allow that message to come through now. Knowing that this message will become even clearer in the coming days and weeks, that even if the message wasn't as clear as you would have liked it to be, it will come to you in due time. For the last segment, it's back. The classic AMA, Ask Me Anything. So, as our special guest, you get to answer a few questions to close us out. You can answer in your mind or aloud. The listener will hear it either way. And we're going to do these rapid fire. It's going to go fast. Ready? What is your favorite color? What is a quality about yourself you admire? Outside of this one, what is the last podcast or audiobook you listened to? If you don't listen to any, that's fine too. What is something you appreciate about your life right now? What happens for you when you hear the word wake? Wake up? How does that feel? What is your favorite food? Okay, hold that thought. What was the word of the day? That's right, sleep. That one really works when you want it to. So remind me again, what happens when you hear the word sleep? eyes closing or closed. Interesting. Can you go even deeper? And what does complete relaxation feel like for you? Can you amplify that feeling now and sleep? Amazing. All right, one last question. This one you can just answer for yourself, the listener, in your mind. What is one thing you can take from this episode that will be helpful in your day moving forward? What is one positive quality or behavior or thought from your own mind that you can really implement today or starting first thing tomorrow? And you can just thank yourself because, as always, the answers always come at the right time, whether it's now or later. It's all good. I have to say, this has been great. I really enjoyed you being a guest, and thank you for tuning in. A couple of things before we close out. You can always ignore any suggestion that doesn't serve you, and you can really allow suggestions that help you to sink deeper into your subconscious. So for now, waking up fully and completely at the count of 5. 1. This has been so insightful. I know our listeners have a lot of good takeaways to noodle on after this. 2. 3. My producer is telling me don't forget to give yourself a stretch. Maybe get some water after this as it helps you wake up a little more. 4. Gotta give love to helpful reminders. Coming back into the room fully aware, alert, and feeling fantastic. And 5. Wide awake. 5. Wide awake. Thanks for listening to this episode of the Pop Hypnosis podcast. For new episodes, don't forget to subscribe, and for other interesting hypnotic experiences, check out the link to the right. Until next time, don't forget to focus, play along, and relax. And next time, perhaps we'll have you on as a guest again.